Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And I wanted to talk today about why social media makes us so angry and why we've become so polarized. And a lot of this does seem to have come from social media. Now, I'm definitely not saying we haven't been polarized throughout history, but I think a lot of us can recognize it's become really extreme lately. And, I got sucked into it too. And the reason that I really believe so much of it is from social media is because a lot of it happened for me over lockdown when I had an opinion that was different to the majority of opinions. Certainly at the beginning, I felt more people came on board over time. But at the beginning, I felt like almost everything I felt was against the tide. So I obviously experienced a lot of attack. It made me quite defensive and angry. And I realized when I actually went back out there, and we got to mingle with like new people again, and we weren't just stuck with the same people that we knew, that actually out there in the real world, people were generally quite level-headed, and with all but the odd crazy person, you could actually have conversation on topics when you had completely different opinions. But this doesn't seem to happen online. Online, it's sort of like we're pitted, or we end up being pitted on these two different teams, and people don't really think, well, we might actually connect on those things. Because, if we meet someone in real life, we probably have connection points that are based outside of that opinion. But when you meet someone just on the internet, there's just this bombardment of extreme opposing opinions. No one's really taking the time to get to know the other areas in life where you might get on. And actually, this is what experts are starting to realize now, that they thought that what happened was that we were in sort of social bubbles where everybody around us was essentially thinking the same, so we ended up in these like extremely small bubbles. But that's not actually the case. What's actually happening is we're just out there and we're mixing with so many extreme opinions that our brains just simply cannot handle it. And then layer onto that we're not even getting to know these people or have any kind of areas of similar interest. Whereas if you met these people in the real world, you probably would overlap on a few things, like maybe you met them at a sporting event, so at least you get on around the sport, and then maybe you have a few other things in common, and you eat a similar way, and you just have this different opinion. So it's just one little element of that person. Whereas online, all we're seeing is the opinion, and we're getting involved in these huge online arguments, which just purely like attack and defend. And then we've gone down this kind of cancelling route, because we think, well, if we don't like that one little part of them, that one opinion, then we have to just cancel them and get them off the internet. It's like people's brains just can't handle it. They can't handle this many different opinions en masse. Apparently, 1 in 5 Americans now think that political violence is actually justified. And that's quite scary, because that's starting to move that online mentality and thinking that it's actually okay to take that into the real world. And we are in sort of quite insane times when it comes to this real polarization, and it's almost like teams. People are desperate to split people into my side and your side. I certainly have lots of crossover opinions where, I'll have extreme opinions on something that could go on one side and then on the other side, but people don't want that. They really want to box you in immediately. They want to be able to put you in a box and either be like, you're on my team or you're not on my team. And that's it, really. And, how can we kind of fix this mess that we are in, where we've got this incredibly strong polarization and aggressiveness that is starting online on social media and slowly starting to seep in the real world? Because I noticed that I was becoming more aggressive and defensive naturally, because I'd been so used to over lockdown getting involved in these kind of people attacking me and then me attacking back. I realized that I carried that out with me into the real world, and it's actually taken me a little bit of time to unwire that in myself and start to be calmer again. And I think that it's happening on an even stronger level in younger people that are just online so much of the time, and they're spending so much of their time on the internet. And So I feel like what the real way we can solve this is to sort of make these online communities a little bit more like real life communities. And I was watching a few videos that were giving similar suggestions, saying that back in the old days when we had forums, we actually didn't have this because, you know, there was a small group of people that were collecting together over a like-minded idea and similar set of rules. So that actually weren't really a lot of arguments. And that's true. I don't know if we all remember the earlier days of the internet when we joined. I remember being part of the spiritual forums, and I don't really remember there being crazy aggression and arguments there. And I think that we just have too much to handle and to deal with by having so many people in our networks that we really haven't even gotten to know. You know, we're just exposed to so many people every day when we're on social media with completely different extreme opinions, and maybe we just simply are not able to handle that at this point in time. And having smaller networks with people that we actually know and take the time to find out about, as a whole person, not just that one opinion and then like label them and put them in a box. And, you know, maybe if we return to some of these like-minded groups where we're connecting around a like-minded topic or a few like-minded topics, you know, maybe this is the answer right now, is maybe we've just been like thrown into way too much chaos and way too many extremely different opinions, and we're not taking the time, or we don't have the time to get to know all these people on a personal level. So maybe the future is about building smaller, more connected networks than it is trying to sort of get out there to as many people as possible. And when you think about it, even when we have a business, do we really need all those people? You know, like you actually probably only need, unless you're a massive business, you probably only need 1,000, you know, regular buyers. You know, that's probably enough. And that's probably a relatively realistic amount of people to get to know on a loose level. And yeah, just some food for thought, really. Perhaps this could be the path to having nicer online communities, because I don't think we're going to end up in a world anytime soon where we don't have the internet. So maybe it's about learning to use it in a way that's much more peaceful and comfortable for us as souls and individuals. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you think we can fix some of this extreme anger that we are carrying from the internet and bringing into real life?